So today I'm going to demonstrate how to change the 4 filters inside of your 9000 unit. So first I'm going to show you what you need in order to do the task. You'll need a couple of towels. These are both microfiber. You'll need some sort of bladed instrument, whether it is a flathead screwdriver. I have a multi-tool, a Leatherman. You could use a butter knife if that's what you had available. But you'll need something flat, basically, to untether the push connect fittings from the filters themselves. So first and foremost, you're going to want to check underneath your sink. More than likely it'll be on the cold side. You'll find this angle stop with this blue shutoff valve. You'll want to shut the water off. So when it is vertical, there's no water being sent to the unit. Possibly you have this immediately behind the cooler. So it would be the blue supply line going into the water inlet on the back. If you have that, you can shut that off as well. And before you start the process of changing the filters, I recommend dispensing about a cup of water. Now that your water is actually turned off, you can dispense, like I said, about a cup of water, and that'll relieve pressure from the lines. That way, whenever you're untethering the lines from the filters themselves, you're getting less spillage. At this point, you'll remove the faceplate, the lower faceplate, and to do that, you will take each side and kind of press down because it's on a spring-loaded mechanism. So you push down, pull forward, and then you can release. And here's the spring-loaded mechanisms that rest in these little divots right here. And then you have these pegs that kind of rest in there as well. So now that the faceplate is off, you can see each one of the filters. What I recommend doing first, just so you have less obstructions, go ahead and pull the reverse osmosis filter, the frontmost filter. Pull it, kind of set it out of the way. Don't worry about any tension on the lines. They're pretty reliable and flexible. So now you'll take your towel and you will locate the leak detector. And basically this has a pellet that absorbs water, and it'll shut water off to the unit in case there is a leak. So what you'll do is you'll take your towel, microfiber, whatever, and you will swaddle this little device, kind of like this, just to make sure no water enters the leak detector and trips it. All right. So now you're going to basically be changing each one of these filters. You'll do the sediment, then the pre-carbon, the BioSure, and then the TCR. But realistically, I'm just going to demo these two because it's a pretty accurate representation of what to expect from these. So what you'll do is you'll pull it free from these clamps. You'll have your pre-flushed sediment filter ready, and you'll kind of locate this blue collar that attaches to the stem. So basically what's going on here is you have this stem with this 90-degree elbow. You'll use your flat, whether, like I said, flathead screwdriver or a butter knife, whatever. You'll scoop underneath that blue collar. The best comparison I can make is it's like a Chinese finger trap. So whenever there is pressure applied inward, or if it's being pulled, you can't really untether it from the filter itself. So you'll apply the pressure, then pull. I would kind of cap that off if you're dexterous, or have something on the floor to catch water. You can kind of flip it over like that, and then do the same thing to this filter. One swoop. Bam. Now, it's time to put this filter in place. Note the arrow, pretty obvious, but whenever you go to remove these rubber caps at the end, be ready for a little bit of spillage. So I recommend putting one in place, push all the way down, invert it, remove this rubber cap, keep your finger on there, and then as you remove, kind of place into that blue collar, push down, and you're good. Moving to the pre-carbon, just kind of unhinge it. Do the same thing at the bottom of this T. You may have to wrestle with it a little. Remove the rubber caps. Note the arrow side up. Push all the way down. Make sure everything's nice and snug. And then apply this 90-degree elbow in. Insert all the way. And you should be good. And just follow the same procedure for the BioSure and the TCR. And realistically, there's nothing left to do except reassemble. So remove your cloth, you don't want to leave it in there. Just push these clamps back onto the carbon filter like that. That way the BioSure is rested nicely at this particular angle, because when you're putting the faceplate back on, the RO membrane will kind of rest in this little opening right here. And again, these are spring loaded, so you'll find these divots. It can be a little bit of a pain, and it may take you a couple of tries the first time you do it, but don't be afraid to kind of rough it up a little bit. So you'll place down into those depressions, push the springs down, push into place, and then kind of let go, and then the springs will force it back into place. And as you can see, pretty seamless. That's what it should look like on both sides. So at this point, you're ready to turn the water back on. So again, if you have this immediately behind the unit going into the water inlet, it should be off, so now you'll switch it back to on. If you did that, you should be good. Or if you have this at the underneath the sink on the cold supply line, you'll switch it back into the on position. And you will at that point hear water entering the unit, and you're done.